Hi, Tiffany. Okay, so after our phone conversation yesterday, I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and record a quick video and share with you what I have so far on your project. And I know you have a lot going on, so you can take your time, watch it at your convenience. This initial presentation is just a lot of me kind of throwing ideas out um, of what we could do with the space. So it can be a lot to take in, so you can process it. And then you can respond. We can book a time to chat like this over Zoom. Or at the end of this video, I'll kind of go over a couple different ways that we can communicate just throughout this process in general. So I am going to share my screen with you. And we're going to start with the floor plan that I've drafted in my system. And I'm going to send you an email that has a link to this video, as well as a link to sign into my design platform. Um, I will also send you these drawings in a PDF format because I do have clients that like to print things out and kind of look at things like on their tabletop. Um, but the best way to communicate would be within my design platform. And then also that's where you will be able to see like the 3D walkthroughs of these plans. So starting here, this is a floor plan for your entire space. And this is not how it looks now. This is what I would recommend doing. So I'm actually going to minimize this this box with me here. And that way I can just show you the screen. Okay. Sorry, hopefully you weren't seeing all that. Okay. So starting here, this is you can see where my arrow is on the screen. This is your staircase, the circular staircase that goes up to your entryway door to the apartment. The entryway door I haven't touched, that's in the exact same spot. What I think you could do here, though, is actually extend this wall just about a foot and bring it down. I know you mentioned getting rid of the closet. You currently have a closet right here, and the wall to your closet is kind of more about equal to where the door is. And so I've extended it out so that you have, I guess, what I would call like an owner's closet or a utility closet that's about 3 feet deep. And I would put a door to that somewhere around here. And my goal would be to probably move the water heater that is currently in this. Well, you have your kitchen currently back here, which I would change into a bedroom, and try to move that water heater into this closet. And the smaller, the better for the water heater. Right now, I have in there a 22 by 22 water heater, but if you can go even smaller than that, that would be better. And then ideally, if you could fit in a small stackable washer and dryer, I think that that would be just a really great amenity to have for that unit, whether you're using it as a long-term rental or a short-term rental. I don't know if you have any other washer and dryer anywhere else in the building that would be accessible to people in this apartment, but having one in the unit is always really nice. So if you could fit the two of those things in in an owner's closet or a utility closet right here, that would be accessible to users and renters, I think that would be awesome. It also helps your cleaning crew to have a place right on site if if it is a short-term rental and they're trying to get the unit turned over for a same day guest who's just coming later that day. It's really helpful for them to have even just a small washer and dryer unit to throw in the sheets and the towels. So that would be an idea for that spot there, right when you come in. And you also mentioned you have sort of like a closet space right here, right now. And you mentioned pushing the wall all the way back, but I don't think you can push this wall all the way back due to the fact that you have the stairs coming up right here. And it was hard for me to tell when I was there how far back you actually could go. So I would say that was one question I had still after measuring and looking at the place was I couldn't really tell how far you can actually go before, the stairs are coming up there. So you need a certain amount of just open space there to allow for people to walk up back here. And I wasn't clear on that, but I have an idea for what you could do with this little space that would be kind of like a built-in bookcase. And you can see it better when I put you into the 3D mode. So we'll kind of come back to that. But kind of going back, coming through this entryway door, you would have these two rooms in the back as bedrooms. And this is your door here to the balcony. I don't have it drawn in yet, but I would go ahead probably and extend that balcony. I mean, why not if you can all the way over to this side and just give yourself a little bit more outdoor space. So if that's a possibility, I would do that, but I wouldn't necessarily use this as the main entryway. I think I would stick to this area as being the main entryway and this kind of being just an additional way to get in and out. I right now have placed 2 queen beds in each of the rooms, and I think you can get away with that. I think that would probably be the most versatile way to set it up if it was like a short-term vacation rental. Okay, so coming again back through the entryway, you would have, you still have like a nice open view into this front room. Not quite as open as if you got rid of this closet altogether. But again, I think that having a closet, like an official walled in closet somewhere in the unit is going to be really useful for you, even for things like broom storage, um, just really whatever, all the extra things that you're going to have having a unit there. So moving over to, let's see, probably the bathroom, because I think that's the next area I did the most with here. And what I did was, in order to make it a little bit bigger, this is your wall right now. And right now, it's kind of about right here. You don't have any space. Your door just kind of opens up, and your bathroom is about that big right there. So my thought is if you were to extend this out about 2 feet towards the front of the building, what you could do is you could change the position of your bathtub to be along this wall now. So that when you're walking into the room, you're not just like walking straight into the back wall of the tub. And then you could potentially fit your toilet right next to it, and then a larger vanity on this wall here. Right now I have, I think, a 45-inch vanity. You could probably go a little bit bigger. You could probably go a little bit smaller. You could probably even fit in a double vanity here if you went with maybe like a 50-inch vanity with 2 small sinks. I tried that in here for a minute as well. So I think that that could be a really nice possibility is a nice large double vanity actually here. If you didn't want to make that bathroom any bigger and you wanted to keep it the same size, which would again be kind of leaving this wall here, that would give you a little more space in your like kitchen, dining, living area. Then I think what I would do is I would go with a much smaller vanity, pushing it as close to the wall as possible, probably. So see, like right now I have in a 42-inch width, but you could really go as small as, like 30 inches here if I was going to change it. And then you could take this toilet, let me see if I can get that moved, and you could rotate it around and kind of just have this single wall with all your plumbing sort of on this same wall here, keeping the bathroom essentially the same exact size it is right now, but still flipping this tub around. And then you might actually even be able to go with a slightly larger tub, because here I have it as a 60-inch tub shower combo, and you might be able to go a little bit bigger if you were to do that with just the tub and shower. Smaller bathroom, but slightly bigger tub shower. So that could be another option there if you didn't want to move that wall to make the bathroom slightly larger. And having this toilet over here. And then again, I think if you did that, you could definitely do back with even like I could put in a 50-inch vanity there. I think you could go as big as that and put in like two double sinks if you wanted to. So that would be option for the bathroom to kind of mull over and think about. And I guess it would be also a matter of if you could put the plumbing on this outside wall. So that would be another thing to consider there. And if that's out of the question, then yeah, I think just moving the toilets over here and smaller vanity would be the answer. Okay, and then coming into the kitchen area, I have the kitchen aligned along these two walls. So this wall that's shared with the bathroom and this wall that would be along this hopefully exposed brick wall. So I do recommend probably exposing as many of the brick walls as you can. As long as the brick is in good condition, you can have it repaired and sealed. That's what we did in our building. And you could line the kitchen up along this wall. And I think that these could be interchanged. Right now I have like an oven, stovetop, and then a microwave unit above along this wall. And then I have a sink and some open shelving here. I've got a dishwasher located right next to the sink. And then I have a small retro style fridge, which I wanted to get your feedback on. Because I do think you mentioned small appliances yesterday on the phone, and I do think going like pretty much as small as possible, although I do have a 30-inch like range here. So it's not tiny. It's a standard size. It's just like on the smaller size of standard sizes. But I've got a pretty small refrigerator, freezer in here, and then, sink. And then, yes, I think you can go with a small dishwasher. And in general, I think keeping just everything a small scale is going to help in here. So, moving over to like the living space, I just have a dining table in the middle. I do think you could probably fit a 6-seater, would be a little bit tighter around the edges. I even just put a dining bench on this side because I figured if needed, you could like scoot that all the way under the table and just have more working space here possibly. And then over here, I would just put a really small sectional to kind of line this back wall and then the bookcase that I want to show you. And then this wall here, which would be like a newly exposed brick wall as well. TV kind of sitting here on just a short table in front of these two windows. That's kind of just what we have in our unit, except for we have more of a corner TV, but it is basically just in front of the windows, sitting a little bit lower. I think you just need a small TV. I would, though, put a TV in each of the bedrooms. So right now you have a door on this wall going in between these two rooms, and I think I would take that door out and I would wire for electrical for a television to be wall mounted on this wall probably, and then also on this wall. I think because it is a smaller unit, especially if you were to have like two couples staying here, it could be nice to have a TV in each of the rooms and the living room. And pretty simple thing to do. It doesn't have to be a large TV. You can let me know your thoughts on that. But I do like to stay in a place that has a TV in a bedroom personally. So that's kind of what we're looking at just in terms of an overlook flat layout. I would definitely raise the ceiling in there to expose the arched windows in the front. I couldn't tell if you had arched windows in the back or not, or if they were all arched, or if it was just those front windows. But I am going to take you into more of a perspective mode now so that you can get an idea of walkthrough. And in this particular mode right now, don't pay too close of attention to the style of the furniture or the decor. I've kind of just thrown it in quickly to get an idea of spacing, what we can fit, what we can't fit. Um, and so it isn't necessarily what I would recommend as my exact choices here, but I hope that this gives you an idea of spacing. The only thing you're not seeing here is you're not seeing the stairs that are coming up. But your stairwell coming up to this level is right here. Can try to go ahead and add some stairs in. But this is your new water heater and the washer and dryer unit that I mentioned, the bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen, dining, living. So you can kind of tilt this and you'll have the ability to come in here and do this yourself so you can kind of take time with it. Um, but I think for now, this is a view that's probably most helpful. It's kind of just looking at how we would relocate the kitchen from back here to kind of just like the entire opposite corner. And again, I think we can play around here with, do we want the stove over here, or is it better against the brick wall? I think a lot of that has to do with, I'm not 100% familiar with what the possibilities are against the brick wall. In our unit, we have our kitchen appliances up against, we do have our sink that's kind of in the middle on an island. But the other, like the refrigerator and the stove are up against a wall that's a drywall that we had put in. So I think it could be nice to have the sink against this wall with a retro style refrigerator here. If you like that style, they tend to just be cute, small, and it can be like its own standalone refrigerator. I love the idea of doing open shelving of some kind above because it really helps to just really make the brick shine through. And then on this wall, doing, your oven, your stovetop, whether it be gas or electric, and that's something to figure out what you want to do there. And then microwave above, and then just closed storage cabinets. In our unit, we have these top cabinets, glass, and you could do that. That could be cute with lighting above. I couldn't find that to put in my program, and I was just trying to kind of get something in there, but I would go not necessarily to the ceiling with the cabinets because the ceilings would be very high once you raise them, but definitely I would go with a stacked cabinet here, tall, and then a shorter unit to make it pretty tall. Again, table in the middle, and here I have a 6-person table. Again, I think if you just wanted more circulation space around the outside, you could do a smaller 4-person table, maybe even an extension table that was set for 4, but that you could add an extension to if you wanted to, could be a possibility there. And then over here, again, just very small sectional to really utilize this whole corner in the living space with the TV. Let me see if I can move this over. TV kind of up against the window. And I think you could fit like a plant or possibly small desk or just end table in this corner, depending on how long of a sectional we ended up finding. And if you like this concept, then that's when we'll start to kind of look into, okay, what size sectionals are or what sectionals are available in this size and what fabric options do we have? So right now I just have it in white. But it, not even necessarily this style, but wanting to look mainly at size here. Okay, this is this tricky little section that is essentially right up next to the stairwell. So again, this is the area where I'm not really sure how far back we can bring this wall before we get to the point where someone who's coming up is gonna like hit their head. Like you need that clearance space. So I was over at the Wyman, and in a minute, I'm going to switch over to an inspiration photo I took while I was there. Like the Wyman Hotel, right across from your building. this building, in their lobby way or lobby entryway, they have a really pretty built-in bookshelf. It's kind of raised up a little bit, like maybe 2 to 3 feet off the ground, which is what I'm recommending here. And that would allow you to take this sectional and just like push it right back against the wall. And your bookshelf would kind of be built in above. And then you could do some sort of like nice sconce lighting to kind of highlight that area. You could do books, you could do artwork, you could do a mix of kind of like personal and decorative items. And that would be one way to use that space. Where again, I don't think you can push this wall all the way back, but you have a closet there now. So we can certainly use it in some way. Um, and you could just turn it into a closet again. There's definitely other options for use there. I think that this option is maybe the most decorative option that I've thought of so far. What I would probably do to really build it in is I would use the trim from the doors that you're going to be getting rid of. So you're still going to be getting rid of a door right here that goes in between these bedrooms. And you're going to be getting rid of the two doors that lead to these two front rooms. And then you would be adding a door here. And then whatever trim you have left over, or those sort of square, I forget what they're called, but the end caps at the top of the door molding, reusing any bits and pieces of that to kind of frame in this like custom bookshelf. Tried to make the shelves here look like the same color. And then I did want to show you color here a little bit. I'll talk about that a little bit because as I was designing and looking at inspiration photos, which I'll show you, I thought, this could be a fun opportunity to use a little bit of color in the kitchen cabinets. You could do white like we did in our unit. I feel like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that is definitely kind of like a standard go-to that you could do. But I just wanted to show you this option of going with a color. My mind tends to go to something in like the blue-green shades. And then if you did do that, that would kind of be like a way to just kind of get started on color throughout the unit. So maybe not this exact area rug, but I would tie in the area rug with whatever color. I would tie in maybe this built-in bookcase, maybe even carry it into the bedrooms a little bit and use it as a way to create cohesion throughout the entire unit. So I am going to switch over now, kind of have had you in my back end working mode. And I'm going to switch screens, and I hope that you can see this. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. So when you sign into my platform, these are all the designs that I have so far for you to see. So I'm going to actually switch here to preview as a client. So you will get to see the floor plan that I just showed you. And you can scroll through and you can see the sort of top-down version of that. And if we scroll through then to the next one, you've got the actual perspective. And as long as you're signed into the program, you can actually click this center button here, Interact with Room, and that will kind of open up the floor plan again, and it will bring you to a mode where you can walk through on your own at any time, as long as you're signed into my program. It just kind of takes a minute to load up. And then once you're in there, you'll use your mouse or your pointer or whatever to drag around and view, and you can zoom in and out. And again, this first kind of round here is to really just show sort of spacing, layout, and kind of the approximate size of things that you can use. And then the next board that I had to show you was kind of more materials and color and finish based. So again, definitely exposing the brick walls as long as you can. Um, I love the idea of going with mainly black appliances, although if you do like the idea of a retro style refrigerator, I think that you could go with either white or black. So still black appliances, but then I think the refrigerator could be white or black. And that's what I was showing in the 3D design. If you were to go back, I actually have a white refrigerator in there now. So I think either one could be cute. And most of these styles come in both colors. Um, and I found that these refrigerators come in a variety of prices. So you can go with like the Smeg for $5,000, but you can also get one from Lowe's or Home Depot that's under $2,000. So it's kind of like there are both save and splurge options there if you're open to going something. I like that style, I think, because it can be a standalone style. It looks good just by itself without having to be encased in cabinetry. And it's just kind of a small appliance on its own. So I thought that that could look cute up there. Um, for the open shelving on the brick wall, I like the idea of going with like a glass shelving and something that would be maybe carrying over that black into some of your hardware. And I'm sort of liking the idea of doing a mix of black and then kind of like a polished silver hardware. I think I'm leaning towards that because most of the handles that I've seen on these refrigerators um, are kind of like a polished silver, but you could do brass if that's something that you really love and your heart was set on that. I think you can totally mix. But that's kind of what I have for now. Flooring, definitely I would try to refinish the floors you have. I actually don't mind the color that they are now. This is kind of an example of a color that I would shoot for. So it's kind of just like a light oak or a white oak color. Um, I would paint the new walls that you have just a really simple white. Dunn Edwards Swiss Coffee and also Sherwin-Williams does a Swiss Coffee. Those are really nice colors. I would do the base molding again, like really tall in there, just like you have now, basically. Um, Probably painting it the same color as the walls, but in more of a glossy finish. Um, Imagining that you're probably going to replace those interior doors. And I think I'd go with something pretty classic, like probably what you have now in there. I'd have to look back at my photos, but just a classic 4-panel door. And I would also go pretty classic with your kitchen cabinet doors. I actually like this white one the best. It's kind of the most timeless and traditional. But I wanted to put in these other cabinet colors as well, just to give you an idea of where we could go again with cabinet color. So I do think it could be really fun to go with some sort of shade of blue or green or even a teal. And I found an inspiration photo that I'm going to show you in just a minute. Um, and I say teal because you have that circular staircase. If you're going to leave that as your staircase up and you're going to leave it with the faux painting, it's kind of like a tealish color. So if you wanted to tie the whole thing in, you could even go with a little bit of a tealish green in those cabinets. And I just think anything in that family would contrast really nicely with the red brick. Um, so that's kind of the direction I'm thinking of in terms of like overall color scheme and feel. So you'll have to let me know your thoughts on doing a colored kitchen cabinet versus just a white kitchen cabinet and let me know what you even think about that. And then we can kind of play around with looking at different colors, but let me know your thoughts on that one. Moving over, this is the inspiration board that I had kind of started with myself when I was looking at just like kitchens up against brick walls. And I found this photo with the teal cabinets and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I've never done a teal kitchen before. I've done blue kitchens. Um, but that could be an option if you liked that. And again, that would be something that would, I think, kind of tie in with that greenish teal that's faux painted on that circular staircase leading up. And then again, just this one kind of just put over here because I like this look of the open shelving. You could do silver. I do like the polished silver look. But I think the black might stand out a little bit better against the brick wall. But I do love that look of the open shelving against the brick wall. If you decided to put the stove range like that on the brick wall, like if that was somehow easier than putting the sink there, I do like this look of the stainless steel kind of back coming up and then this hood that's mounted right to the brick wall. And it doesn't even go all the way up to the ceiling. So I actually do really like this look. And I actually really love the look of these, the color of these cabinets as well. Again, my previous board, I recommended just going with like a white quartz countertop. Um, that's what we are aiming for, that look in our units. I would go with quartz instead of marble. It's just easier to maintain. But I do like this image here that has the black countertop. So, I mean, that's a possibility for sure as well. So kind of just wanted to show you those inspiration images that I was looking at. And then the last image that I uploaded just before I started recording this is the bookcase that I saw over at the Wyman Hotel that's built into the wall. So you can see it's kind of built up and they have like a nice thick molding around the outside. It's all painted one color, which I love. They have these really cool brass, I mean, I think they're just vents. Um, and then, yeah, this bookcase that goes all the way up. It doesn't go all the way up to the top of the ceiling. It does. It's kind of set in. You could go and walk in there and take a look at it if you wanted to. It's just right across the street. So, but I liked that look, and that's kind of what I was going for. If I just kind of flip back again to the very beginning, looking at this kind of perspective here in this side of the room, that was sort of the look I'm thinking we might be able to go for. That would be really cute. A cute way of incorporating some personal decorative items. Yeah, so I think that's what I have for now. I'm going to go back to the designs, all the designs together. And I want to show you, if we open up this board right here, and I'm going to go actually again to, I want to preview this kind of as you're going to be seeing it actually. So as I start to, my goal is to put together kind of a board like this, even more comprehensive for each room. So this is kind of an overview again of like general materials and finishes throughout, but I'll be putting together a more detailed board for each room. And when you scroll down, you will see a shopping list or a product list. And for the items that I have a specific item in mind, I'm linking to it right through this Shop It button. So you'll see your design, you can scroll down, you can click right on the Shop It button. And I mean, this is an exact refrigerator that I think could be a possibility for you. It's going to link you right to the manufacturer's website where you could place an order if you wanted to. Same thing with this open shelving. This is a company I really like. Obviously, we'd have to get exact dimensions and figure everything out, but you can really customize this shelving. So that would be something to explore. So that's kind of how you can explore further some of the items that I have in these design boards that you're going to be seeing. Furthermore, if you have something, a specific thought about any of these items, you can click on this little comment box here and you can say something and leave a message about this specific item. So you could say, hey, Nicole, I really love this. and you can send the message and I'm going to get a notification and it's going to come through. You can also approve or decline if you're just like, nope, don't want that at all. And then you could type something like, I really don't love this. I would like to see different options. And so we can really get detailed about our communication. You can also approve if you're just like, yep, love it. We don't even need to talk about that any further. Let's just say we like that and we're going to go with that. You can approve an item here. But I think the discussion part is really important because when we get into these designs, as we start to have a lot of components, if we're just emailing or just text messaging, it can get to be, I'm like looking back like, okay, what did she say about that product? Whereas on here, I can go right to it and I can see what you thought about this shelving or what you thought about this refrigerator. So that is one way moving forward for us to do quick communication back and forth. Um, and so you can always like book a call with me. You can always text me or email me. But that is also a way, just you have to sign into the platform to access all that. But that is a way to have a quick link to all these items that I'm recommending, as well as be able to communicate with me on each individual item. And I think if you had just like a general discussion or something to mention in general, like if it wasn't about any of these items here, there is a little discussion box right up here, and you can just open up a discussion about this particular board. So again, as we get into the project and there's like a board about the living room or a board about the kitchen and a board about the bedroom and a board about the bathroom, it helps to have a conversation kind of on each one. It just like really makes it clear for each of us. I found this program to be like super easy to move through with my clients. So, and then again, we're always, you're always welcome to book a call anytime, and we can hop on a Zoom call like this, and I can share my screen and we can go over things in person. But I wanted to just get all of this out for today. I feel like it was super long, and I try to keep them as short and concise as possible. I didn't really talk too much about lighting, but in our unit, we just have a combination of recessed lighting, and then we do use ceiling fans with light since we don't have any kind of like air conditioning. We use the ceiling fans as a way to just keep air moving. So I have that here in the living room, but I'd probably also put one in each of the bedrooms there. Let's see, heating. We use this, let's see if I can show you. Hopefully it'll switch the screen over to this window. We use a heating kind of like this. It goes up near the ceiling, and kind of just disappears into like the corner of the walls up between, the ceiling. And it doesn't take up any like long wall space, kind of like the heaters that you have in there now. So I think I would aim for something more like that in terms of heating. And then let's see what else I had in my notes. I think that was kind of it, Tiffany. I hope that's not too much for today. I feel like that was a lot, but let me know. I guess the main thoughts are, what you're thinking about this bathroom size, how you feel about this closet here with washer and dryer unit. Can we go any smaller with a water heater here? Because I do think ideally, if we were to put a washer and dryer here, you'd want it to actually be, I have it kind of pushed up against the wall right now, but you'd want it to be more like right in front of the door. So there would be, oh, I can't click on it right now because I'm not in working mode, but it would be like actually scoot over just a little bit. So, and then let me know what your thoughts are in terms of color of cabinets and just kind of a design style in general, if you have any preferences there. And yeah, we can talk more. I will send all of this to you in all the forms that I mentioned, so you'll have access to my platform. You will have a link to this video that I'm recording right now. You can watch it, fast forward, rewind as much as you want. And then, yeah, I'm excited to hear your feedback and we will take it from there. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and thank you so much. I will talk with you soon. I hope you have a good weekend and I hope your event goes well. 80 people is a lot. I host Thanksgiving for like 30 to 35 each year for my dad's side of the family. And man, that is a lot of work. So good luck with your event. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. And I will talk with you soon. Bye.